Welcome to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show. I'm Kevin Lawrence in studio with my dad, Dr. Gary Lawrence, and we are a father and son team dedicated to helping you create your new financial future today. Dr. G and I believe there is a solution to your financial situation. And on this show, we talk about creating wealth with biblical principles and practical application in today's world. Of course, you can find us online. Visit our website, wealthempowers.com. And by the way, this radio show is also on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook. Find us on YouTube. Just type in Wealth Empowers. We're all over online. So as you listen today, we hope you'll be entertained, educated, and encouraged. So glad to have you with us today. So friends, have you ever noticed that there is a never-ending line of people in your life who are ready to give you advice and offer you their opinion? You know, when it comes to creating wealth, learning financial and business principles, it is important to steer clear from bad advice, which, well, usually comes from people who have very little understanding of what you want to accomplish. In fact, the worst advice may come from people who are the closest to us, and they love us, and they love us the most. See, they just fear that we may get hurt, and they don't want us to lose. And the truth is, I was one of those people. See, I gave my dad some bad advice, and I told him, hey, stay away from real estate investing because, well, it's risky. And stay away from Renatus because it's probably another scam. So, Dad, here we are years later, and I'm working right alongside with you. So I'm really glad you ignored my bad advice.
Well, I don't think it was bad advice, Kevin. I think it was sincere advice.
But it was bad.
Well,
you're very kind. I was being sincere.
Well, that's because you love your mother and I.
Absolutely.
And you know that, I was 64, going on 65, going through bankruptcy and foreclosure, and that's when I was introduced to Renatus. And what is Renatus? Well, it's a Latin term for rebirth, and your mother and I needed to be rebirthed financially.
Yes.
But what you didn't know at the time, when I got enrolled in Renatus, my sweet wife, Sylvia, your dear mother, was against it. And I found out about a year and a half ago that she was praying, dear God, don't let Gary get involved in real estate. But I had the opportunity that very few people don't experience, and that opportunity was the fact that I was able to meet with Mr. Bob Snyder, the CEO and founder of Renatus. Mm-hmm. And I also met with two of our instructors, Chris Wilson, who lives right here in New River, and Chris Albin, who's from Danville, Illinois. And it was just an unusual timing. And I spent several hours with those three gentlemen, and I told your mother, when I saw the depth of their character and the strength of their integrity, I knew I had to embrace this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every once in a while someone would say, well, how did you know what the future would hold? And I'd say, well, I didn't know what the future held, but I did know who held the future. And so I enrolled and I got laser focused, and our life changed tremendously. And to help you and I convey to our audience how their life can change financially, we have live in the studio Mr. Bill Predebon, a right now 49-year-old, soon-to-be 50-year-old entrepreneur, a former loan officer and licensed real estate agent turned real estate investor. And he's a successful investor, but he's highly respected with our local team in Scottsdale, Renatus. And he's just a man who has a heart to help other people. He has an excitement about himself, and I'm just going to bring him on. There's not a whole lot more I can say. Bill, what a joy to have you in the studio.
Well, it's an honor, Dr. Gary, to be here. And Kevin, thank you for inviting me. I tell you, when you asked me to do this, I was just thrilled to do it, and I'm glad to share. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, I've got to ask you a question before we get into our conversation. How does it feel turning 50?
Wow. So you didn't tell me that was going to be the topic of conversation, so I might have thought differently. I feel good, and I'm excited about it. I think it's just another day, another year, and with the opportunity that we're going to talk about today, I feel younger than ever, to be honest.
Well, there's an old saying that 50 is the old age of our youth, but 50 is also the youth of our old age.
There you go.
And I'm sitting here looking at you in the studio, and I'm thinking, I just had this mental picture, Bill. You spent the last 10 years with Renatus.
Absolutely.
You have laid the groundwork for your Renatus real estate and investing career. And now you're just turning 50. I mean, you're a young man. And that whole segment of life is starting anew for you. I'm excited for you, Bill.
Yeah, I'm very excited, too.
So, Bill, you were a licensed real estate agent. You were a former loan officer. What was happening in your life that made you lean towards Renatus and walk away from being the loan officer and the real estate agent and become an investor?
Well, it's an interesting, I guess, story, if you want to call it that. At that time, again, you mentioned it was 10 years ago, so technically 12 years ago. I was a small business owner prior to becoming a loan officer, and I always thought that was going to be it. But when things just turned a different way for me financially with that business,
as it did with millions of Americans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, I found myself in a situation where I no longer was going to be able to survive financially with those stores, and from a few mistakes even of my own, some ignorance and just what I didn't know hurt me. And what I found was a lot of people I had been talking to, because when things aren't going well, you start to put feelers out there. You're become more observant, I think, and maybe a lot of people on the radio listening to this and are maybe not even in as bad a financial situation as I was, but they're just thinking about something different for a lot of different reasons, right? And so I was talking to people, and a lot of people were making really good money in real estate, and this was when I first started looking, was like 05 and I was in Southern California. And people were just telling me how much they were making in real estate and stuff, and that I should get a job as a loan officer and get into real estate. So I read a couple books, and I got a job as a loan officer to make money. But I also thought it would be a road to real estate investing. And what I found very quickly was that nobody was investing money. Everybody was just making money and spending it. I mean, they were making so much money hand over fist at that time of the economy, the way things were going in real estate.
And of course, you were getting wealthy as a loan officer. No,
right? No, unfortunately, I wasn't. There was a lot. I hit it out. I moved out here in Arizona in 06 and started getting into that. And even though I guess we didn't see the end of the crash till 07. I was experiencing in my business as a loan officer in 06. I mean, banks were closing, loans weren't funding. A lot of issues were going on. It was pretty volatile, and my paychecks were not what I expected. I expected to be making $10,000, $15,000 a month, and I'd make $5,000, I'd make $3,000, I'd make $8,000. It was nowhere near what I thought was going to happen.
Well, still, a lot of people heard those numbers. They'd say, "Well, he was doing pretty good as a loan officer." But let's move up. So you were introduced to Renatus, which I believe is the premier real estate investing education service in America. You finally pulled the trigger. What happened to you mentally and emotionally that made you pull the trigger and say, I'm going to get educated so I don't have to go on my gut instincts and keep doing things with ignorance, but I'm going to get educated and learn how to become a successful real estate investor, because you are successful today in every aspect of the word.
No, I really appreciate that, and I'm excited to talk about that. When I wasn't making the money in real estate, as a loan officer rather, I decided also that in order to learn how to invest, like where the people buying houses and flipping houses, right? The first beginning shows were coming out, and there was a lot of talk in Arizona about all the money being made selling houses as an investor, right? And I wanted to get into that, so I then went out and got my license in 2007, thinking if I got my real estate license, I would learn real estate, and it's the complete opposite. They really restrict you, and you're limited, in my opinion, unless you have the right mentor in that field, and most of them are just teaching you to legally transact a real estate transaction between buyer and seller. Say, protect people.
So what I hear you saying is there's really a very small percentage of real estate agents that understand real estate investing.
I believe that to be true. It just seems like that. They have a purpose, and it's not to learn to invest unless again they're put in that environment. And I don't think those environments are out there. I think that they think they can make a lot of money quickly just being an agent.
Absolutely, and with real estate school, because people go, I'm going to go to real estate school, learn to invest in real estate. But it really is, it's a class and classes on how not to get sued. You got to protect your broker. You got to protect yourself, how to protect the consumer in the state of Arizona. That's all real estate school is about, is the laws of being an agent, listing and selling a house. Nothing to do with real estate investing.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and we have live in the studio with us Bill Predebon, 50-year-old real estate investor and mentor to many people. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another investor business forum this week. And, of course, Bill, you're going to be there this week.
I will. In fact, I'll be presenting this week.
Oh, great. I'll tell you what, guys, you got to come out and listen to the Renata's Real Estate Investing presentation that we will be having this Thursday. It's from 7 to 9. Hey, this is not multi-level marketing. This is not a boring business meeting. This is an exciting event. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is call me. Let me enroll you. Let me register you as my personal guest. And come and get acquainted with Kevin and I. Come and meet Bill Predebon. Come and meet the rest of our team, men and women just like yourself that came to the place and said, you know what? It's time I make a change. And it's not going to cost you anything. We tell everybody, Kevin, leave your checkbook and your credit cards at home. And why is that?
Well, they're not buying anything. It's about doing your due diligence. You're going to meet us. We get to meet you and find out, is this a place that you want to be involved in? Yeah.
Right, absolutely. Okay, here's my phone number. Write this down, and you will get our voicemail. So for your sake, leave a message with your name and phone number so I can call you back. Are you ready to write it down? It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's WEALTH. Empowers, EMPOWERS. Wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon's live in the studio. Bill, now you and Sherry have been married, about 10 years?
So this is going to be our 12th year.
This is going to be your 12th year. So you came together in matrimony just about the same time you came together with Renatus, right?
Yeah, just a little bit before, yep.
So where was Sherry at that time? Was she on board with you, or was she saying, I'm not so sure?
Well, it ties right into what we were talking about earlier is when I saw Renata, so, when I was doing these things, becoming a loan officer, right, I was trying to figure it out on my own. So go become a loan officer. Well, that didn't help me. Well, then get my real estate license, right? Then I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which of course I recommend to anybody, but it gives you a concept, not a how-to, right? Well, I treated it as a how-to, and I used my loan officer and real estate experience as an agent. And in 2006, I refinanced which is Sherry's house. I'm like, okay, we're gonna negatively cash flow this, but don't worry about it. We're gonna have plenty of money to cover it. We're gonna move out. We're gonna get 100% financing on another house like everybody else, and we're gonna wait 2 years, and it's gonna go up, and then we're gonna sell it. It's gonna be amazing, and it's twice as big. It's gonna sell for twice as much. You're gonna have an island in the kitchen, and everything's gonna be great. And she believed me because I was just new to courting her and everything.
and you weren't married yet.
No, we were not married. And the kicker was I was going to use her credit to do it because mine was in the toilet. And it was all her money and all her credit and my financial situation. And you opened up by talking about financial advice to the people who love you, right? And I didn't do it because I wanted to get rich. I did it because I thought it would benefit us moving forward, and real estate was the place to go. So I'm giving her advice That was the absolute worst advice I could have given her.
Yeah. And she still married you?
She had to. She needed to get her money back.
Yeah, she had to get her money and credit back. I ruined it, right? She was like, oh, my God, I should have done my due diligence.
Yeah.
And so that's how I found Renatus, and she was not on board, Gary. I had already made the mistakes. By the time the ink dried on a couple of those loans, buying that house and stuff, we were $300,000 upside down in 2 different properties, and she would have been just fine riding it out with her credit and her money on the other house and riding out the crash and been fine.
Okay, Bill, you're a fellow that's on the move, okay? You make impulsive decisions, and back in those days, there was a lot of impulsive decisions made. But you got enrolled in the Renatus education. I'm just picturing in my mind Bill Predebon, the guy that moves forward, the guy that does it by himself, now is becoming part of a team. You're slowing down. You're getting focused. Can you take us from that point of being part of Renatus and how things began to change with your investing?
Excellent. So, it's interesting that you mentioned that about the team, because when I saw Renatus, I had been trying to do it on my own. I was reading. I was going out there, trying to figure it out. And I had made mistakes, as you just heard. And when I saw Renatus, and what people are going to see Thursday night, right? They're going to see you guys, right? Gary, you're a sophisticated real estate investor, right? Kevin, I mean, the success right out of the gate that you've had has just been phenomenal, right? You and I are partnering on a deal even. And it's just so exciting. I saw that 11 years ago, and I saw people in front of the room, testimony after testimony, people working together, a room full of people that were having success in real estate, that were doing it as a team. And I was like, this is what I need. I can't do it on my own. It's not a me business. It's a group thing.
It's not a me business. It's a we business.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's often said that real estate investing is a team sport.
Right.
I can't imagine. I know when I got started, I was flat broke. I mean, I was going through bankruptcy. We lost our house to foreclosure. I tell everybody I didn't have a pot to carry tea in, okay? But the first class I attended was taught by Chris Alban. It was called Creative Acquisitions. And that was such a godsend to me, because I was so encouraged, because even though I was broke and I had no money, I was enrolled in one of the most sophisticated, successful real estate investing education services in America. And when I took that Creative Acquisitions, I left there saying, hey, I can do this. And it's from that one class I learned how to take ownership and control of real estate with none of my own money and none of my own credit. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing, and that's one of the things that attracted me too, because I was unfortunately in a similar situation. I had filed bankruptcy in 2006. I'd put us into $10,000 plus a month in bills. We ruined my credit. Eventually ruined her credit. Just a terrible situation. I'll tell you, if you couldn't do real estate without money or credit, you and I would not be on this radio right now talking.
You're absolutely right. Okay, now you just kind of gave the overall picture of where you were.
Sure.
And I know that our audience is going to say, well, he's got to be exaggerating. But just give a brief picture of where you are now. How many deals have you done?
Over the last 11 years, it's been over 130 real estate different transactions.
How many properties do you and Sherry own?
13.
13 properties. They're cash flowing.
That's correct.
Every one of them.
Yep.
And you started out flat broke.
Yeah, and I think by the time we're done here, people are going to realize they can do it in half the time and twice as much, because we started at such a poor financial platform. We were so far upside down.
Okay, now the average person hearing us, they just heard the two extremes. You were broke, now you're very successful. And I know they're sitting back saying, well, that sounds good for him. I don't think I could do that. Help their mindset, Bill. What would you say to them?
I think perhaps on their own they can't do it. I think
there you go.
I think with the right environment, and I say that word over and over again, but with what you and your son Kevin and your wife Sylvia have created in the leadership that we have in Scottsdale Renatus, the group that we've been able to surround ourselves with, that is an environment that you mentioned you met Bob Snyder, the CEO, that the genius inside of him created that said, I'm not only going to give them the premier real estate investing education and financial literacy education so they can have access to that as a resource, but I'm going to create a place where they can actually implement it, where they can actually work together, come together all the time, work together, mastermind together, and then get out there and put it to use so they can do it. So anybody listening to the radio might go, oh, that's for him, he's able to do it. No, I was able to do it because I put myself into that environment.
Right.
Remember, when I tried not to and I wasn't in the environment, I failed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kevin, coming out of the gate, you became part of our team back in 2016.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago. Yeah. And by the end of your first year, you and I did a deal together. Mm-hmm. You were the project manager. You were kind of overseeing it because I was recovering from surgery. And we generated $64,000 in profit in about a 5-month cycle.
Yeah, 5.5 months. Yeah, and that's going back to what you said, Bill. If it wasn't for the fact that you can invest in real estate without your own money and without your own credit, and doing it legally and doing it the right way to protect investors and protect yourself, if you didn't know how to do that, all of us in this room would not even been started in real estate. Yeah, that's a key strategy and an important business principle people need to learn.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Bill Predebon from Phoenix, Arizona is our special guest live in the studio with us. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to extend to you a very sincere, heartfelt invitation to be my personal guest at our Investor Business Forum this week, right here in the Valley. There's no cost to you. I encourage you, take some time from making a living to learn how to make a life, because Renatus is more than just real estate investing. Renatus is a lifestyle that gives you time freedom, gives you the ability to enjoy a quality of life that very people have the opportunity to enjoy. It's very few people will choose to change their financial future. It's that simple. Hey, there's no cost to you. You're going to be mine and Kevin's personal guest. If you would like to attend the business forum, here's the phone number. Call me. It's 602-730-5645. Once again, it's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website. It's wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Bill, we've got about 2 minutes left. Would you take a minute and a half and speak from your heart to the heart of our audience of what they're going to experience if they come to our business forum?
Absolutely. I just again enjoy sharing this information and giving the gift that I was given almost 11 years ago. And I'll tell you something Kevin said earlier is that not only is it no money and no credit of your own, but not everybody was in our situation. A lot of people listen to the radio. They've worked hard. You guys enjoy your business, your job, all of those things, and you've created something, and you don't want to put it to risk. Real estate could be risky, right? So when I put myself in an environment where the opportunity is abundance. Even if you have those resources, you could put them in long-term investments when you learn how to do it properly, making multiple double-digit returns. And you can learn to invest in real estate with other people's money and credit, even if you have it. This is for everyone. Yeah. This is for anybody and everybody who wants to save more of the money they make, who wants to take the money that they have and put it to work so they're doing 2 jobs with only doing 1. They're doubling their income, tripling their income by learning how to make their money grow for them. And they're going to see in Renatus on Thursday night, they're going to see incredibly happy and excited people for the future, like you talked about, being 50 or whatever age they are, even young kids in there to folks in their 70s. Just go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just hearing that. I'm 74 going on 75, but you just had a young man by the name of Zach who's 20 years old.
20 years old, and his future's so bright, and it's just amazing what people are going to experience there with the abundance mentality, the excitement and the environment to grow and to really establish something in real estate and business.
Bill Predebon, it's been a joy to have you in the studio, my friend. Thank you for your time and sharing with our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say many times, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So I'm encouraging you, investigate the possibilities and probabilities of how you can change your life, come and be our guest at the Investor Business Forum. Change, when left to chance, gives birth to more conflict. And if you don't change, things are never going to change. And I'll guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. So stop being a circumstantial creator and become an intentional creator. Success is not a destination, it's a journey. You can succeed. All that's given to anyone is given to you. Now listen carefully. Success is not final, but failure is never fatal. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. And why do I say this? It's real simple. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Have a great day. I want you to create success. Why not start today? Hey, right now is a good time. You and I have live in the studio a fellow that came from, similar circumstances, but he's one of our key leaders with Scottsdale Renatas. He's a former loan officer, licensed real estate agent, turned real estate investor, and his name is Bill Predebon. He's a 49-year-old going on 50 entrepreneur, but he knows what I'm talking about. Bill, what a joy to have you in the studio again today.
Oh, it's just an honor, a privilege. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the opportunity you and Kevin give me to do this and to be a part of your lives and working with you guys. And, to be honest, to be able to share the gift we've been given with Renatas to the world,
Bill, you've dug yourself out of a deep hole financially. You and Sherry are enjoying a whole different level of lifestyle today. You literally have no financial needs. But the thing I love about you is you never forget, you never lose sight of from whence you came. Okay, that hole that you dug yourself out of. I hope I never lose that, because if you forget the past, you're going to repeat it. It's that simple. But today, what would you say to the average man and woman listening to us? They're on their way to work, or they're on their way home from work, and they're thinking, man, I've got to change something. I've got to do something. I mean, Kevin, you and I talk to people every week that say, well, I realize working a job is not going to prepare me for retirement.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the truth is, right now, are you ready for this? 56% of all Americans have less than $500 in savings. Mm-hmm. That's frightening, Bill.
Yeah, that's very frightening.
How would you address the opportunity people have to literally change their financial picture like you have?
Well, I'll tell you, I was just talking to Kevin about that earlier. You mentioned driving to work, and I was coming here to the radio station at 6:20 in the morning, and driving down Indian School Road from Arcadia, and I can't believe the amount of traffic is on the road that early.
Yeah,
and I wasn't even on the freeway, and I'll tell you,
can you imagine getting up 5 days a week in the dark, driving in that traffic every day to a job?
I can't. I can't, and that's another reason why we're doing this. Why we're,
right.
Here's the thing: is you asked what I would say is, a lot of people may have the job they want, they have the lifestyle they want necessarily, that are listening, and others want to get out of their job. They're in there, they're spending so much time on the freeway. It's very hectic. I lose my mind in traffic, and either way, what we have here is a supplement, a complement. An addition, right? It's like a diet. You add things in. Eventually, there won't be room enough for everything, and pretty soon there won't be room enough for that job and that commute, because you'll be having too much success doing what we're doing.
Right.
This isn't get rich quick, as you mentioned, Gary. This is just a little bit of a marathon, but it's a marathon that you can get out of the gate in fairly quickly. We're content with working 40 or 50 years, driving to and from work an hour each way or more in traffic, and doing all these things, with the hope of being successful and being able to retire in 40 or 50 years. Well, if you could do that in 3 or 5 or 7 with Renatas like we can, then that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity, what we're talking about. We're not talking about, you're going to, all of a sudden get rich next week or next year.
Yeah, and if anyone ever thinks that, or if our listeners ever told by anyone else or any other program or any speaker or any trainer or anything, hey, within 60, 90, 120 days, you'll be making tens of thousands
quitting
of dollars.
Your job, and
firing your boss and buying an island and all that stuff. It's like run the other way, because it's not. We sell crock pots here, not microwaves, to steal from a very well-known radio voice right now. But, it is. This is a long-term play, but it's possible. The important thing is to jump in and start playing. That's the key. Now, we have
the time is now.
Yeah, the time is now. And so with Renatus Education, we talk about this every day. Not to overwhelm our listeners here, guys, but we have over 400 hours of on-demand education that takes a person from basic tax and legal, structuring a business, all the way to commercial real estate investing and everything in between. So coming out of the conceptual and the abstract and the concept of things, bringing it to the practicality of it, Bill, let's talk about some of the deals you've done. One of the, my first deal, I exercised seller carry as a strategy to obtain the property with none of my own money. And then I was able to negotiate that to be paid out of escrow. And then I was able to go raise private money as a result of the classes I watched on how to ask the right questions and set it up and make sure I had all my legal paperwork in place. And then that culminated into over $60,000 profit on that deal. So very very fruitful, and I got a lot back from my classes. Delve into some of the classes you've taken, Bill, that have made an impact in your real estate.
Yeah, talk about an impressive deal, Kevin. I was 8 years into investing and was jealous and impressed by that deal. You did an amazing job. I mean, you used multiple strategies. You raised $67,000 in a matter of less than a week, and from studying one class, and then you went on to negotiate that seller finance deal, which you didn't even really have to do. You could have gotten money other ways, and that was just a great deal for you. And it's great to see that. And
now I want to slow down here. What Bill Predebon said, dear listeners, is the fact that Kevin was able to take ownership and control of that house, that lot, that property, with no money down. He created a seller-financed relationship there. In other words, Kevin, you didn't have to pay the seller back until after you rehabbed and sold the property.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But they were still in first position on the property. But without getting into all those details, yeah, go ahead, Bill.
And that was a win-win for them, because they actually made more money by carrying you than they did if they got it up front. Yeah. The interesting thing is, so one of the things you were talking about in the education was when, depending on your situation, when I got started, as you heard before, I was pretty broke, really broke. And I needed money, and I needed to make money, and I was making no money. I mean, in 2007, I made $17,000 on my tax return. It was a horrible year. Doing everything I thought was going to help me get into real estate until I found this opportunity in 2008, right? And my first deal was, I started looking at the education, and I got some advice from some of the experts in the group, right? And they said, well, wholesaling is a way to make money with no money and no credit. And then I studied the class on wholesaling, which is just simply using your knowledge to get a piece of property and then turning it over to an actual investor, because I wasn't prepared and ready yet to be an investor, a flipper.
But you take ownership of it.
I did.
You sell the paperwork.
I did.
I want to come back to that on wholesaling. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Bill Predebon is our special guest from right here in Phoenix, Arizona. And he's also one of our highly respected and dearly loved leaders with our Scottsdale Renatus team. Hey, we're hosting another investor business forum this week, and we would love to meet you. Why don't you just take a few hours and come and attend our investor business forum? As our guest, there's no cost to you. And we tell everybody, leave your checkbook and your credit cards at home. You're not going to buy anything. As a matter of fact, if you want to become part of our team right now, and I say this with a lot of love, you're just not qualified, because we don't know you. So we've got to get acquainted. And, hey, you may not want to become part of us. I don't know. But we're extending the invitation. Come and visit us. I'm going to give you our phone number. And so when you call, please leave a message with your name and your phone number so I can call you back. All right, here's our number. Write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S. wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon's our guest. So let's go back. So you had found as one of the classes, we have 59 classes now, but one of the classes was on how to wholesale.
Yeah, I listened to the wholesaling class several times with Chris Wilson. He's a local. You mentioned him earlier in the week, and he's a local real estate investor, been doing it 35 some odd years. Just a brilliant man, sharing all of his wisdom with us. And then I actually listened to the Bob Snyder, our CEO, the genius Bob Snyder that he is, also teaches the negotiations class for any and every business, right? Anything you're doing. And I would study the negotiations class, and that's how I was able to negotiate this deal with the seller. And I was able to use the community, Kevin, which we'll talk about, right? You mentioned the Renatus environment that we were put in and have been blessed to be a part of. And I was able to wholesale that property to a gentleman inside the community who had the financial means to fix and flip that property. And I made a generated $12,000 profit in 6 weeks on that deal.
Yeah,
that's pretty good part-time income, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I was pretty
absolutely
stoked. My wife said to me, she goes, "Well, that was easy. Go do it again."
Yeah, well, literally because of the Renatus education system, once you do one deal, I remember my very first fix and flip was out in Mesa, and I was able to take ownership and control of the property with none of my own money. I had an investor partner from our local team, had some hard money, and then I hired a project manager, and in 3 months we generated $37,000 in profit. But not only did we create a profit, we created a home for a lady that was thrilled with the house once she walked through it. And she had a financial situation that we helped her solve, so now she can become a homeowner again.
Yeah, it was a great win-win. And do you remember your very first deal, Dr. Gary, that we did together? How much did you make an hour in that deal?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember the very first deal we did was you had a property for sale. I had a buyer.
Yeah.
Well, I knew a lady that was looking for an investment, so I brought the buyer and the seller together, and I made $3,000 in 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was my very first deal, and I thought, I like that, $1,000 an hour.
Pretty good salary.
That's pretty good salary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that again.
Absolutely, and there's another win-win. You were talking about the whole concept here is, the lady that ended up buying that property had a turnkey, fixed-up property with a renter, cash flowing the property, and you won, I won, our contractors won. It was a whole win-win all the way around. That was a great experience.
Well, and that's what Renatus is all about. It's all about creating win-win. I don't think there's one key leader in Renatus nationwide, nor one of our instructors, that have a spirit of greediness or an attitude of haughtiness. They all have a genuine attitude of gratitude. Would you speak to that subject, Bill?
Well, for example, I was with an agent, a new friend of mine, an agent that I'm working with, and we were at a property. And I was dealing with a new investor, and just a long story short is, at the end of the deal that day, checking out this house, and we were getting rolling, and I was sharing all the information. We got into his truck, and I said, hey, you should get a hold of this lady's number. She's looking to do some fix and flips. She might want a broker to sell the house or a realtor, to find her a property or whatever. And he's like, oh, I didn't want to step on any toes. I didn't want to take her away from you. I didn't want to, I wasn't sure. I was hoping I'd get her number. I was like, no. Everything is everybody's. We're about abundance. There's plenty to go around, and that stems from the top down, right? That's Bob Snyder and his genius mentality again with the instructors and the practicing instructors that he surrounds himself with to share with us, giving us all of their information of years of knowledge and experience for nothing else, because they're giving back. And then we feel the same way when we create the environment we've created, and we bring new people in that are listening to this show, and they come in, they're going to feel that. They're going to experience all of our contact, all of our wisdom as well, and that's just part of it. Of being the more we share, the more we get. Yeah,
absolutely. And when we talk about the concepts of business and real estate investing and this mindset of abundance and sharing, that's the great thing about businesses. We believe that there's enough to go around, man. We're not running out of real estate deals. It's not like our team alone is sucking up all the deals in the valley. One of the key things we look at when we're creating profits with real estate is, what do you do with the money? Now, see, that's another thing that so many programs and so many other people don't address. Now I made a $64,000 profit. Dad, your first deal you created $3,000, and then you did that flip with $37,000. Bill, you got a $12,000 profit in wholesaling that deal. And people hear these numbers and they go, "Oh my gosh, it can't be true." Well, it is true, number one. But more importantly, now that we've created it, what are we doing to hold on to it? And this is where Renatus provides full 16-hour content on tax and legal, on how to protect your business and how to pay less money to the federal government than you need to because you understand the tax strategies. Bill, talk to that.
That's amazing. So everybody thinks of real estate, as you mentioned, as an income generator, right? A way to make money. But Renatus looks at real estate as a way to create wealth. And so part of that in the beginning, nothing basic about it, is keeping more of the money you make through tax strategies and legal strategies, saving the money that you, or not saving, but creating the money that you make so it's protected, right? Protecting your assets and your money. And then having the knowledge to not only fix and flip a house or make a wholesale or do these little strategies that generate income, but then to create wealth. And that's why you asked me in the beginning, how many properties is Sherry and I have. It's about paying down debt. It's about leveraging and then paying off, not paying less in interest, and then buying more assets, not buying more liabilities, right? And creating that wealth. And we have wealth acceleration. We have retiring in real estate, things that no one else offers really, unless you're paying much, much more extra to get. People just want, they're attracted to the money, the $10,000, the $20,000 checks. But if you don't know how to protect it, save it, keep it, and all those things, you're just broke three months later with no idea how to invest the money.
Well, yeah, it's the old saying. It's not a matter of how much do you make; it's a matter of how much do you keep.
Right.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's what our tax and legal class is all about. And Kevin, you said we have 16 hours of education just on tax and legal strategies, and I'm thinking, you know what? From that one class, I learned things that my CPA has never told me.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
and of course, CPAs won't tell you anything unless you know what questions to ask. And the average American doesn't know what questions to ask.
We're just not taught to.
Yeah, they're totally dependent. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Bill Predebon is live in the studio with us. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm encouraging you, come and meet Bill, come and meet Kevin and I. Be our personal guest at our business forum this week. You're going to meet a group of wonderful people. You're going to learn what the real estate investing arena is like in the state of Arizona today, not as it was 10 years ago. You're going to learn about Renatus. What is Renatus? Well, it's the premier real estate investing education system in America. It's the only educational system in America that will position you to experience true financial freedom. And hey, guess what? You're not going to have a bunch of student debts hanging around your neck when you're through with the education. You're going to be able to propel yourself forward in a rather speedy manner if you're teachable and coachable. Anyway, if you'd like to be mine, Kevin's guest, you're going to have to call me. When you call, you will get our voicemail. So for your sake, leave a message so I can get back to you, and I will return the call personally. All right, write down our phone number. Here we go. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit us at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon, we don't have much time left. There's men and women listening to us, and I should call Dr. G. I had a lady call me last week that's been listening to me for the last 4 years.
Wow.
She attended our business forum last Thursday. Kevin and I hear this all the time.
Oh, you remember that one couple, 5 years, 7 years.
7 years.
They listened to us 7 years before they called.
And what could you say to people to maybe encourage them to take a step out of their lethargy and make a decision to come just be our guest?
You know, Gary and Kevin, over the last 3 years working side by side with you guys in this, I have seen many people that have been listening to you guys for a long time come in and kick themselves for not seeing this earlier. And the folks that have gotten started with you have been tremendously successful. Dan comes to mind, among others, Eric Gardner. I mean, all these folks, right? And they had been listening to for quite a while. My thought is there's nothing to lose. This is for everyone. And this opportunity, there is no better opportunity. And I was just thinking about that when you were talking before you even mentioned that. So it's just coincidental, I guess, fate, if you will. That's the exact reason we're on this radio. Is we're not here to talk about me and what I've done. We're here to share with you the opportunity that these two people in this room, Gary and Kevin, care about what you're doing and where you are, no matter where you are, and they just want to share with you what they're talking about, and you'll see that on Thursday night. You'll see a very casual opportunity. Presentation that has no pressure and just has an abundance mentality like we talked about. And I can't wait for all of you on the radio to give Gary and Kevin a call and literally come and see what we're talking about and doing it now.
Well, I had a fellow a couple of weeks ago came up to me after the event was over. He said, well, aren't you going to talk to me about enrolling? And I said, no. He said, why not? And I said, because I need to sit down and get acquainted with you. And the bottom line is we don't put people's arms behind their back. We're not selling them anything. We're extending them an invitation to live a better quality of life. Am I right or right?
Absolutely. One of our national leaders likes to say, we're not looking for impulsive people. We're looking for intelligent people. No matter what their situation is, we're looking for intelligent people that want to change their life and create wealth and help others do the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad you listened to us today, and you probably have heard me say this many times. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. And some of you are thinking, well, Dr. G, you just don't understand. I've got a lot of problems. Well, everybody's got problems. But I say it like this. Successful people are not people without problems. They are people who've learned how to solve their problems. And by the way, when it comes to your problems, you've got 4 choices. You can resist your problems. You can resent your problems. You can rage about your problems. But I encourage you to respond to the positive purpose of your problem. Is it time for you to make a change? Well, change when left to chance gives birth to conflict. And if you don't change, things will never change. And I'll guarantee you this, the only thing that won't change is the fact that things will change. Success is not a destination. It's nothing more than a journey. Are you enjoying the journey? You can succeed. All that's given to anyone is given to you. God doesn't love someone else more than you. Now listen carefully. Success is never final, but failure is never fatal. An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You are full of the power of success. Now, why do I say this with such strong conviction? It's real simple. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today? Now's a good time. Success is a word that is so misunderstood. Success is not the making of money. The making money is the result of success.
Yes.
And what do I mean by that? Success with people, success with relationships, success with serving others. John Maxwell, he says that if you think you're a leader and no one's following, you're just taking a walk in the park. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to success, you actually become a leader. And being a leader creates success. I mean, they go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. And people say, well, Dr. G, you've got that outgoing personality. You've got the ability to communicate. I don't have their abilities. Well, the bottom line is, with our local community of real estate investors in Scottsdale, we have some of the most quiet, nonverbal, reclusive personalities that are awesome and successful real estate investors. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about Berto Vargas for one of them.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to be that outgoing personality. Exactly. You don't have to have leadership and success have nothing to do with personality. It has everything to do with commitment and character.
Right. And to help you and I convey that message to our listeners, we have live in the studio Bill Predebon, a soon-to-be 50-year-old entrepreneur. And he's been our guest the last several days. Was a former loan officer and licensed real estate agent turned real estate investor, very successful, highly respected with our local team, and highly respected nationwide with Renatus. And Bill, you heard Kevin's opening and my response to that. What would you add to that?
Well, I think, again, I've talked about Bob a couple times this week. Bob Snyder, our CEO and founder of Renatus, and what he's been able to create is that he enables us, or has provided an opportunity for us to raise our own success, create our own success by having other people around us to have success, right? Mm-hmm. And so Kevin and I talked about this and wanted to convey this is that you've heard me say it before, the environment that we have is all about a community of like-minded individuals working together for the same thing. They're educated the same, they've got the same goals, with it, not identically same goals, but the same theories and concepts and dreams and things like that, and they're coming together to help each other make everybody's dreams come true.
Oh, I agree. It's called cooperation, not competition. And as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, how many of our team members now have left the corporate environment? And there's two basic environments we're talking about. We're talking about the corporate environment, where everything's a secret. You don't tell others what you make. You don't talk openly about your life. But then there's the community we have with Renatus of real estate investing. How would you describe the difference between the corporate environment and the community environment that we have?
I think that corporate America has a way of, I don't know, and this is a theory, I guess, or my thoughts of what it looks like. But you've got these places you go to work, and the powers that be, the hierarchy of the corporation, they do just enough to keep you there all the time, and just happy enough or stuck enough to where it's very difficult for you to imagine leaving that, right? But at any given time when they don't need you, or they can replace you at a lesser dollar, very disposable. Yeah. But in the meantime, you're there, and so they create that scenario and that environment where it is kind of secretive. Oh, I don't want to. There's a position open, but we're really not going to talk about it. And then all of a sudden, this other person gets it, and you thought you weren't, and all of those little things, and raises and things like that are based on numbers you don't know anything about.
Right.
You have no control, except for the fact that you show up day in and day out, so you don't get fired. Right.
Yeah. And it's been said, Bill, that people get paid just enough so they don't quit, and people work just enough so they don't get fired.
Right.
So you're getting the less of both sides of the equation.
Kevin, say that again, just a little slower. I want our audience to hear that, because that is profound.
Well, people work, they go to work and they work enough, right? Perform just enough so they don't get fired. And companies pay people just enough so they don't quit.
Right.
I'm making just enough money, I can't quit, and it's pretty good. And I'm working just enough, giving that company just enough of myself so they don't fire me. And no one's really winning in that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
There's no, like you said, Bill, there's no control from an employee standpoint. And they would dispose of you if they need to in a heartbeat.
They do.
So let's step into our Renatus community environment. What is Renatus? Well, it's a Latin term for rebirth. And all of us right here live in the studio, we needed to be rebirthed financially. But Renatus is also the premier real estate investing education service in America. And so we have a wonderful team of people. Our team is exploding. It's growing. So let's walk into the community. We've talked about the corporate environment. Let's talk about what stands out in your mind about becoming part of the Renatus community.
I just saw it as a true opportunity for me to be successful in real estate investments and as a business owner. And I saw other people there that could help me get there. I saw, and now I experience, and now I share, and we share the same opportunity with others where it is about abundance. And I, for lack of a better term, right, for another word, and it is about creating a place where everybody does talk about what they make. They do talk about what's possible. They do talk about what they want and what they need, and sharing goals. And so it's out there, and then people know, and then they can help, and then they have the greatest resource in Renatus to supplement that and the environment to create it and implement it.
And Bob, Bill, I've seen that literally develop in your personal life as a real estate investor. And let me tell you why. I'm going to tell a little story on you.
Sure.
You started attending our events. You'd show up maybe once a month, kind of look around and say, "Hey, Bill, how you doing? Good to see you, Dr. G," because you and I were old friends from way back.
Right.
But you had become a loner. Well, you called Bob Snyder and talked about, hey, can I come to Renatus? I don't know what that conversation was, but Bob Snyder called me. He said, Dr. G, Bill Predebon called me, and he wants to come back to Renatus. Well, you used to be part of an old company, and Bob created Renatus. So anyway, he said, would you be willing to receive Bill as part of your team? And I got to tell you, my first response was this. Well, Bob, he's pretty much a loner. Do you think he really wants to become part of a local community? He said, absolutely. And I said, I'd love to have Bill on our team. It blew me away that you had called, Bob. And I've seen you morph over the years. You've become a team player. You're not intimidated by letting other people, I'm going to say, use your time, use your knowledge, use your skills. You're mentoring people, and because of that, the team is growing. How would you respond to my thoughts on that?
I think it's a very good point, a very good story that brings it home. Is we all think, I don't know that we think that we can do it by ourselves, or maybe that's part of it, and we all try different things to make it work, and maybe the least path of resistance. But it's never the case. And I saw what you guys were creating, and I felt like everything I tried was not the right place. Plus, being successful alone,
it's not fun, is it?
And it has its limitations,
right?
In my opinion, Renatus in the environment when it has no limitations, and I wanted to be a part of that. I missed that camaraderie, that spirit, that abundance, that what you guys had there, and I wanted to be a part of that. And I think that's what people are going to see on Thursday night when they come from being on this radio, is they're going to see that. There's something they're going to want to be a part of, something that they see will create for them what they've been looking for, will give to them what they don't have and what's missing. And that's the way I felt.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Bill Predebon's our special guest right here from Phoenix, Arizona, live in the studio. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm extending to you an invitation to be my personal guest to come and visit the community of Scottsdale, Renatus. You're going to learn about real estate investing as it is today. You're going to learn about building a team of how you can change your financial future. You're going to get to meet Bill Predebon, Kevin Lawrence, myself. We're going to get to meet you. That's a highlight, isn't it?
Oh, we
Kevin?
always enjoy meeting our listeners and hearing from them. Absolutely.
If you would like to be our guest, I got to tell you this. You got to leave your checkbook and your credit cards at home. You're not going to buy anything. Why is that? We're not going to offer you anything to buy. So get ready to write down our phone number, and when you call, you'll get our voicemail. So for your sake, leave a message with your name and phone number, and I will personally return the call. Okay, here's our phone number. Write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit Kevin and I at our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S, wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon's live in the studio, and we're talking about community. And actually, I love, we had Scott Rowe from Chicago here a couple weeks ago, and he and his wife Nancy have the largest team in the nation with Renatus. Well, I think he's got over 3,000 members on his team.
5.
Is it 5,000? You're kidding me. It's grown that much.
It has.
And he talks about people learning how to be consistent with their commitments. And when you attend a Renatus event, a business forum, you're attending the Church of Renatus.
He calls it a real estate church.
Yeah, real estate church.
Yeah, that's a good analogy too. That's a good way to put it.
But being part of Renatus is like a marriage. I mean, Sylvia and I, we've been married almost 52 years now. It takes commitment. It takes consistency. It takes creativity. There are times that since I've been with Renatus that I've lost my thrill. Well, just like in my marriage, there's been times when we lost our thrill being married. Have you and Sherry, ever lost your thrill being married?
We've only been married 11 years, so
they're just
not quite
getting
yet.
started. I've been married longer than he has, man.
She might have been irritated enough, but
And the point I'm making, how about you and Lori? Have you ever lost your thrill being together?
Well, I'll put it this way. Okay, we've had our ups and downs.
Well, there you go.
We've had our challenges.
I know what you're saying exactly.
I get what you mean.
Being
yeah.
part of Renatus is not all cupcakes and ding dongs.
You know, we've been talking about this community, and you're absolutely right. It's and that's where again the community comes in, where you might be having a bad day or a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year, and then you come into there, and all of a sudden you get lifted up, and you know it's not just about feeling good, but it's also about doing good. And what I've experienced in Renatus as part of the community is it has created my real estate business. I've been successful and done over 130 deals and 100 fix and flips, give or take, and all this because of the people I met in Renatus. I partner with people. I partner with all of you. We've done deals together. We have raised money together. We have helped other people come into the community together. It's not because of me or because of you, Gary. It's because of all of us.
Right.
They don't just see something where they can be happy and be friendly and feel at home. They see something where I see something. You will see something where you can actually be successful. You can actually do this. You can implement what you're learning. And people share resources, knowledge, and all of that to create the real estate investors that we are today. It's because of that environment.
Right. And, you know, as you speak, Bill, one of my team members, Alberto Vargas, and we were developing some raw land in Mesa. And how did that happen? Well, we've got several of our team members that heard me on the radio that are now part of our Renatus community that have partnered with us. It's all about working together.
You know, Gary, I've known you for a while, a good amount of time, and if we had that conversation 5 years, you would never have believed it. And because of the relationships that you've created in the Renatus environment, and you keep coming back month after month and day after day and week after week, you and Alberto have grown to be partners. He is sophisticated in his niche down there. You've been able to create relationships that you can leverage to put people into great situations to create financial opportunity for them. And now you're developing land and putting on homes and almost becoming a spec home builder. And it's just an amazing growth. And that's where people on the radio, you know, that's a big vision for somebody on the radio, but it's that's the community, Kevin, you wanted to get to, is where anything's possible.
Absolutely. And the way I see Renatus, the empowerment that Renatus gives us as people, through our education, we learn and we empower ourselves. So the community becomes like the whipped cream on the ice cream, like the gravy on the potatoes, because I can go outside the community and I can raise private funds and I can invest in real estate because I've been empowered to do that. So I'm not dependent on the community, but the community is just that much more. It just makes it richer. So I'm in a place that I'm successful in the community, I'm successful outside the community, and we share our success with one another. You know, it's not like I get mad. Well, Bill, a little bit I get mad at, but no, but their success, and we're genuinely excited for our compadres here to be successful in their real estate business and as they grow, because we know that success impacts all of us in a positive way, and we're not losing out. There's plenty of money. There's plenty of business. There's an abundance mentality. So that's the type of community that you can operate in and be successful.
Well, and when Sylvia and I started this team, oh my goodness, it was back in 2010, March of 2010 is when I actually started enrolling students in the Renatus education. And I was focused just on real estate investing. And I told your mother, it was about 6 months later, I said, honey, I've got to start sharing this with other people. And that's why I'm on the radio, because that's what I did when I had my counseling practice. It's all about caring about other people. But sometimes you can put too much time and effort into some people and neglect others. And you've got to learn where to draw the line on that. I mean, you've experienced that, haven't you, Bill? You put time and effort into people and they just disappear.
Yeah, 100%. It's we really care and we really want to help, but people have to be in a place. I like to call somebody a raw individual. They're ready they're willing, and they're able. And if they're not all three, change is not. It's not the time for them yet. You know what I mean? And it, it's like anything. There's a time and place where you can help others, but you got to always help yourself too. You got to start with you.
Yeah, big time.
And that's what this is about, is it starting with the people that are listening, getting an opportunity to come down here and just taking a look at what we're talking about.
Well, one of the key questions I ask everybody that attends our business forum and then considers becoming part of our team, I ask them this question. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, how teachable and coachable would you rate yourself? And if they say, well, I'm about a 4 or a 5, I'll say, you know what, Renatus is not for you. Because if you're not teachable and coachable, if you're not like that clay where you're going to be moldable, and you're going to listen to your mentors, you're not going to change your life. Am I right or right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's that ready and willing. Mm-hmm. When you're ready to and it's not that they're not, you're not successful or you're not happy or things aren't, it's none of those. It's just that you're ready to grow. You're ready to do more. You're ready for something new, and you're willing to listen to someone who's been there. Like
right.
All of the wealthy do. They're willing to look at what someone's done before them and then try to do it faster, better, and quicker using their experiences
right.
and their knowledge, teaching them. They're willing to be taught, and then they're able to move forward.
Right.
No, absolutely. The able part is important. You got to be ready. Are you able to do it? And Bill, I like how you bring out, and this is something that maybe we forget about time to time, but you don't have to be in financial dire straits in order to get a financial lifeline to get out of your situation. I was talking to a gentleman the other day, very educated. He's a low six-figure income earner every year, benefits a large international company, and he looked me straight in the face and said, you know what? I know what I'm putting into my 401k every month, and it will not be enough when I retire.
Yeah, we hear that a lot.
But he's not financially destitute, but he knows he has to take a different path and do something different because what he's doing isn't sufficient. And, Dad, a lot of our listeners are in that situation. They're fully employed, they have benefits, they've got income, but they know long-term that's going to be insufficient, and they have to do something different.
You're listening to the Dr. G and Kevin Lawrence Show, and Bill Predebon is live in the studio as our guest today. And ladies and gentlemen, Kevin and I are hosting another business event this Thursday. And once again, I'm extending an invitation to you to be my personal guest. If you'd like to attend and come and experience Renatus at its finest, all you have to do is call. And when you call, please leave a message with your name and phone number, and I will return the call personally. I'm going to give you our phone number. Please write it down. It's 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645. Or visit our website, wealthempowers.com. That's wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H. Empowers, E-M-P-O-W-E-R-S. wealthempowers.com. Bill Predebon, we've got about 2.5 minutes left. What would you say from your heart to the heart of our audience? Is there some key truth you can say to get them to say, okay, I'm going to at least go visit Bill and Kevin and Dr. G at their business forum?
Absolutely. Kevin touched on this. Renatus, this opportunity, what we're talking about and what I've been blessed and fortunate enough, and we have been blessed and fortunate enough to experience and be a part of, is Renatus, is for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It is for everyone.
It's for everyone.
No matter what your situation is, no matter where you are in life, no matter it, there is something that we have that everybody needs. And we want to share that with you. We want to show you that. And we want to show you that over time, whatever time it takes for them. And it starts with attending the business forum on Thursday night, meeting the two of you, and fortunately, or possibly meeting me and that type of thing. And just really us getting to know each other, like you say, Dr. Gary, and starting something now. But it's for everybody. That's what I want to let people know.
Kevin,
everybody
do you have any
needs
final words? Pardon?
Yeah.
And everyone needs it.
Yeah, everyone does. But the bottom line is, not everybody's going to take advantage of the opportunity, but it's there for them. We're in, 36 cities nationwide now?
Yeah, we have a nationwide presence. We have all the education is online, 24/7 on demand. It's lifetime, so it's available anytime. New classes, updated classes, local communities for support. What else are you looking for?
Bill Predebon, thank you so much for being our guest. We love you, man.
I love you guys too. Thank you so much. What an honor.
Change, when left to chance, gives birth to more conflict. And if you don't change, I'll guarantee you things are never going to change. But I promise you this, the one thing that will never change is the fact that things will always change. So what's the bottom line? Either you make the change or the change is going to make you. Now, if you want something to change, you're going to have to change your attitude towards it. Okay? Stop being a circumstantial creator. Become an intentional creator. Success is not a destination. It's a journey. And you can succeed. Are you enjoying your journey? All that's given to anyone is given to you. Now listen very carefully. Success is never final, and failure has never been fatal. No one's ever died from being a failure, okay? An investment in knowledge will pay you the best return on your investment. You're full of the power of success. Now, why do I say this with such strong conviction? Well, it's real simple. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. I'm Dr. G, and I want you to create success. Why not start today? Right now is a good time.
It's been said, the best way to predict your future is to create it. No matter your circumstances, there is a solution to your situation. Dr. G and Kevin invite you to explore the possibilities of creating a new financial platform that you control and no longer allow yourself to be controlled by the circumstances of your life. Visit them at wealthempowers.com. That's WealthEmpowers.com. Come and meet Dr. G and Kevin at the Investor Business Forum. Oh, one last thought. Isn't it time for you to stop making a living and start making a life? Call Dr. G and Kevin at 602-730-5645. That's 602-730-5645.